Good evening, y'all. Welcome to the post-game show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Texas falls to the Ohio State Buckeyes 28-14 in the Cotton Bowl. I'm here with Drew and Paul. Fun season, man. Bummer, don't keep going, but I had a great time covering it. Shout out to the players, shout out to the coaches, all the support staff, the media do it. This is not a real job, and I appreciate everyone for letting us do this. I had a lot of fun. I know people are going to be upset, and we're going to want to kind of analyze and who should we be mad at. But before we get into that, I just want to say this was a fun season, and it's sad, but it was cool. Drew, Paul, how are you guys doing?
I hate losing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I hate losing. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was always going to be, okay, if you're a 6-point dog, you had to do things to make up for those 6 points. And we didn't play a clean enough game. It's hard to make up just for those types of issues, those types of challenges. And this is nothing we saw is not, there was nothing we hadn't seen all season. We saw the defense battle. We saw some plays that were highlights. We saw the running game kind of show some life for a second. We saw some calls we didn't enjoy. We saw that's both from the refs and from the coaches.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's funny how certain games or just throughout the season, there's a theme and there's a little bit of copy paste. And there were some great moments there, but, I hate losing. So, regardless of the opponent, regardless of the stakes, I hate losing. But, it is what it is.
Paul.
I hate losing as well. That was tough. That was a tough pill to swallow. I think that first and goal on their 1 yard line, down 21-14 becomes 28-14 after it became 3rd and 8 on their goal to go because of a toss sweep. That was tough. That was real tough. I don't know. In some ways, it was probably fitting the way we went out in the red zone, right?
Yeah.
But by the same token, I thought the team played very hard. I thought they brought it. I thought the teams were very evenly matched, and the score is going to be very deceptive. When people look back 10 years from now, 5 years from now. But ultimately, man, that was a tough way to lose. If it had gone to overtime and we lose, if Will Howard had driven them down, Ibuka made an amazing catch in field goal range and they drill a 50-yarder, no easier, but at least you felt like you lived up the potential. You gave justice to the effort that you would put in the 57 minutes prior to getting down.
Yes.
That makes sense?
We had a chance the entire game. There was no part of the game where the game was away from us.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly right.
You have 4 downs, 4th and goal. You have a choice to make on how you go about it. You have a choice to make on how you choose to execute. What's going to work, what's not. So I hope everybody who's here who wants to see us in this state is enjoying it.
They will.
I really hope so. But yeah,
they'll do the hate watch. I can't blame them.
Hats off to Ohio State. But I will say, when you have 4 downs and an opportunity to go tie it up with that much time left and go try to win a game, what more do you want? So it is what it is, but we had every chance. We didn't execute, and we got to figure out, why that didn't happen. But yeah,
the number of Sooner fans here is revealing. So you're getting punked by a service academy in a nothing bowl. You had a loser season. You got blown out by your rival. You've had 2 of 3 losing seasons in your last 3 when you hired Venables. Looks like a guy who strips copper wiring on the weekends for his meth habit. And you're in here gloating because your rival lost to probably the best team in college football in the Final Four of the playoff. I'll say this, that wouldn't occur to me and Drew. wouldn't enter our thought. I at no point have I ever texted Drew and said, Sooners lost a big game. Let's go in their chat and gloat. He would say, I got a life, man.
Hey, Paul, for what it's worth, I did invite everybody on Twitter, haters included.
Oh, then I take it all back. I'm sorry.
So
My apologies.
I did invite anyone and everyone to come join us. I want it all. But yeah.
Well, welcome. I'm sorry we got off to a bad start. I didn't realize Drew invited you. It's like vampire rules, Drew. If you invite them, a vampire can come in your house.
You know?
So you're
man. I mean,
you told me that before my bitter rant.
Hey, I invited them and they showed up. They have nothing else better to do right now.
There you go. Now we're getting back on track.
I'm telling you, everyone enjoys a nice hate watch amongst my demographic. I've never been the commenter. I've never been the haha commenter, but you absolutely can go on and view for a look. It's like going on you never gone on like an A&M board after a loss and just read it. It's kind of like that. Yeah. So it's like, it's weird when you comment. I've never commented, but I'll definitely get me a nice hate watch in, every now and again. But back to our loss here. I'm trying to take the more reasonable takes here. I know there's a bloodletting, guys, and we want to blame XYZ. And I think over the next week, whenever we can have less emotional takes, we will talk very clearly about what we think happened here throughout the team. But I don't want to just, after a rough loss, be X guy sucks, this guy sucks, blah, blah, blah. But I have no problem if you guys want to talk specifically about points that aren't, just roasting somebody on it. I think losing in the red zone's tough. I've been saying that all season that's gonna happen. That was a big problem last year with Washington.
Hey, at some level, we are who we thought we are, right?
Right. That's why I'm not that mad, dude. Like it kind of is what it is.
We've been talking about it all year, and people are saying, "Oh, enjoy the win." You're being hypercritical. It's like I'm enjoying the win. I love this team. I love their effort.
Yeah.
I love everything about these guys. They're a credit to the name on the front of their jersey. And that means something, right? However, we did have some weaknesses and some fatal flaws, and they showed up.
Yeah, they show up at the end. That's why it's super tough, because you sound like crazy to the fans. Like, I'll point out, like, man, we got stuffed on a goal line versus Wyoming, and fans are like, dude, shut up. We won, but we beat Wyoming by 60 points. And I'm like, it's because in the playoffs, somebody's going to stop you. That kind of stuff is like, I'll see it later.
The game script, and by the way, Sark is aware of this. We were trying to throw the ball to the end zone from the 25 to the 20, right?
Yeah.
Connor and I have talked about this. Hey, when Texas gets to the 20, they got to take shots in the end zone, because actually an 11-yard run to the 9 may not play out the way we think it will, right?
No.
Most teams are like, yeah.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, the field got compressed. I kind of want to throw it in. And so throwing it into Jaden Blue twice on those wheel routes, which were clutch. Great calls. Great scout, something that, frankly, we talked a lot about Inside Texas, our running backs on their linebackers, right? We talked about that pretty incessantly. And then they threw, our first touchdown, we threw it in from the 20, right? So it's sad that we actually ended up in a goal-to-go situation. Now, obviously, you need to convert from 1 with 4 downs. Like that's not even debatable.
Right.
But listen to what I'm saying, and that it's fate that it ended this way.
Yeah, that's why, dude, that's what I'm saying. I'm not like super bummed about it. Like, it's like, it makes, if I was writing a story, not sensationalizing it, that's what would occur with Texas. It's like, it was poetic. Kyle, thank you, man. $5. Quinn appreciation post, big part of taking us out of the dark ages.
Yeah, he won a lot of games as a quarterback at Texas, and that's a legacy in and of itself. This is our second consecutive Final Four. I think Ohio State's going to go on and win it all. I don't think they're a juggernaut after playing them. Very interesting what double coverage did to Jeremiah Smith.
Notre Dame's going to be watching that, because Jeremiah Smith is such a special player, but he got completely taken out of the game.
The problem Notre Dame will face, and Drew, you know this from watching them, they play heavy man-to-man. And they punked out Penn State doing that in a big way. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Ohio State. So they're going to have to shift some stuff up. But I have a lot of faith in Marcus Freeman. He'll have those guys ready to play. I just think that the horses are going to give out at some point, and then Ohio State's going to win the game.
Well, that's what Ohio State felt like too. Like we were like it felt like everything we were doing was so uphill, and then Ohio State screen or like Ohio State. It was kind of like they just felt better in that regard that they were taking the shots. This is a good one here, Jay Stone. We need to call Page on the goal line.
That's right.
I mean, having Colin Page on the goal line requires you to run a play to Colin Page.
Yeah, but we brought Gibson in,
not pitching it behind. Like my wife noticed and was like, "Hey, are you supposed to be going backwards? Can you pitch it backwards if you're supposed to be going forward?" It's like, yeah, we should be going forward, but hey, so that was behind the line, right? Yeah, it was behind the line.
You've got to put the ball in the hands of people from powerhouse high school programs: Houston Lamar, Duncanville, Austin Anderson.
That's what you got to do.
Straight like that.
They're all same level programs, in my opinion.
Across the board, the Duncanvilles of the world. The toss play reminded me a lot of Sark's jet sweep call from the 4th and goal at the inches in the Falcons at Patriots 2017 game. I do not remember that play.
Yeah, that's a good callback, Aaron.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead, Connor.
Well, I was just saying, Ohio State's known for they have incredible red zone defense too, and they've done a lot of these goal line stands. They've had, how Texas has prided herself on making those stops. So is Ohio State. So it's like I'm mad at the result because the result went badly. But like if Sark scores there, I feel great about. It's like I'm not super mad that he chose to go outside against this particular defense, knowing we also have really struggled to run it up the gut for 2 years now. Like I get it, it sucks and it makes me mad, but also I get the logic more than I would. I get the logic more with our context than I would with any normal coach.
So I guess the question I'll ask you, gentlemen, is we felt very comfortable putting Arch in a critical situation.
Yep, that's the counter.
I am very pleased that Sark made that call because I was like, you got to go for this 4th down. Yeah. He puts in Arch. They run a very creative play with Gunnar Helm faking the center snap. Yeah. Puts out to Arch. They get numbers. Arch gets the 1st down and 7 yards. Why were we not comfortable putting Arch in 1st and goal on the 1 and running different permutation, running some stuff or sneaking it?
Just a straight up sneak. Yeah.
Sometimes when you can't get a push with the handoff, you can actually sneak in, right? That's the part I would question. I'd just be curious about Sark's answer on that, of why did you feel comfortable in this really critical play and then not so comfortable late in the game?
I actually like when and see, I think when Arch is in the game, people expect it. Now, of course, you have some wizardry or some things that you can do beyond just expecting to run downhill. But I'm with you there. I would have, and I think everybody would have rather just, we're this close. Go downhill. We'll live with not being able to go 4th and short 4 times. I don't care what the history says. I don't care what the season says. We started getting some space here and there and getting 1 and 2. And we started getting 3 yards plus, later in the game. Have Gunnar Helm motion to the area of the defensive line where we are overmatched and just turn out a pistol and let's just go. Juan Davis, let's just go. Gunnar Helm, let's just go. Like, there's ways to just go downhill and just let your back find the crease.
Yep.
Find the crease. It's just a few. I literally showed my kids. I was like, hey, listen, you know what a yard is? Let's learn something today. We're watching the game. I'm like, let's learn something. It's a yard. Let's go get it.
I think fans can absolutely stomach, getting stopped 4 times on the 1 opposed to the pitch out. But, we need an experienced power back in the portal. What was interesting, too, is that I can't remember who asked Choice, but he said he likes his room. Something along those lines that hinted that he didn't want to go to the portal. I would go ahead and pick up a back if we can. Because I heard a lot, too, is like we're missing Baxter, but and we are. And certainly a sizable back. But, Baxter's numbers weren't anything crazy last year either. So just assuming that Baxter's it's not like Bijan got hurt and we know what we're dealing with here. So just assuming the answer is a healthy Baxter. Also, on top of that, he's hurt. Knees are weird. So I'd be interested to see about another back next year. But we have all off season. Not really. We have until spring to talk about that for sure. Paul, you seem like you were going to say something. Sorry, Drew. Go ahead.
Look at the backs that we've had that have performed well over the last few years. They've led close to leading the NCAA in missed tackles.
Right.
What makes Bijan so dynamic is the fact that he makes guys miss. Jonathan Brooks, between the tackles, he sees the game so cleanly.
Yeah.
All he needs is a step. All he needs is a little bit of leverage, and he will make you miss in space even between the tackles. There's a certain dynamic that the last few backs we've had have been able to do in spite of our offensive line, in spite of certain plays that should be or could be negative plays. We got to figure out how we find the positive plays so we're not doing it in spite of the offensive line. We got to figure that out.
Yeah, if our answer is our run game needs a number one drafted back overall to function, then that's not a good method for us going forward. All right, before we keep going, guys, let's hear a quick word from Academy.
Fun, memories, friendship. We're here for all of it. Here for the big moments and the small ones too. We're here for unforgettable triumph, momentary misfortune, and the impromptu throwdown. We're out here each day, chasing something great. Call it adventure, call it play, we call it fun. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
Have fun out there, guys. I'll be honest, Academy, I'm not having a lot of fun right now. But if I go to your store and get some nice camping gear, I bet I would. Jacob, appreciate this, man. For all the great content this year, IT is the best in the business. The future is still bright. Absolutely is. We were wandering in, 4 years ago, wandering in a desert. We were losing to Kansas and not having players drafted. The Champaign problems, and now a lot of teams Ohio State has felt this feeling like 9 times. This is what it feels like. You want to keep being able to take hacks at it. Hopefully Texas come back this year, but if you're able to stay this relevant to the fight and the playoff things, then you'll get through. It's definitely
part of playing big time, big stakes football is you lose big games and they hurt even more.
Yeah.
And you hang around enough in the neighborhood and you end up stumbling in a national title. If we have to have a epic circa 2005 Texas Longhorns team to win a national title, then we're not a great program.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Paul, the only thing I'll say about this, and I said this on Wednesday Night Live the other day, one of the major concerns I had with Ohio State winning, and not because of any other reason, is when you look at their roster, they're loaded across the board. I was like, if Ohio State wins, because I was like, we just need to stop Will Howard. If we can control the one weakest link on the team. And the reason why I call him the weakest link is because if you look at the rest of their roster on both sides of the ball, Will Howard is the only evidence that there's a salary cap at Ohio State. There's a lot of other guys you could have went and got. So the fact that you just, you know what, we're going to get this quarterback and just get all these guys around him, and that's going to be enough. I don't want that to be the formula. It wasn't our formula in a lot of ways. One corner, the Thorpe Award winner, wasn't a 5-star guy who would have been gone anywhere. He developed into that. Michael Taft was a walk-on. We have five-year D linemen, seniors who developed into these players and developed into NFL guys that we've developed and wanted to keep and wanted to get better. Barron Sorrell, the same thing. We have guys who have developed in this program. They didn't come in with all of that, but they also have been paid to stay. It's just a little bit different. So I'm proud of the way we did it, but I also don't think and don't want to think that the way to do it is to, just accumulate as much as possible without there really being some guys we're invested in. And I think we've done a great job of doing that. And honestly, to be fair to Ohio State, I honestly think their guys, outside of the few spots, Caleb Downs and a few guys they went and pulled from the portal, no different than what we did. There are guys who are there, but they still cut a check. And so I just don't want to go down that road. I don't want to set a precedent, but damn, I want to win too. So we're going to find a way.
I think the model too that Ohio State really proved is get your borderline NFL guys to stay. I think that was the thing too. If your guys are fourth, if your guys are 4th, 5th, and 6th rounders, man, pay them to come back. I think that's what Ohio State did because Will Howard's not
both edges.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly right. Everyone's going to have to find the secret formula. It's not Norvell's Florida State on one end of the bell curve, and it's not Dabo's Clemson on the other side of the bell curve.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in between, and some of it is going to be luck of the draw. It's going to be luck of the draw, or who develops, or or do you get that one guy that freaking dominated the Sun Belt, and you get him on your campus, and you realize he's still a 1,500-yard rusher, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess my point is, if we play, recruit, coach to a standard, we're going to be around in the neighborhood, and we can make the necessary tweaks.
Well, and like you said, you can kind of back into it. Like Michigan hung around the rim. Ohio State has been hanging around the rim. Like it was really just Bama and Georgia that kind of went straight in and got it. But all the other teams, man, they've been hanging around for 5, 6, 7 years, And it's like, and then you get on a good roster cycle like this. The other teams have kind of a down year offensively. Then you can go and win it type of thing. And so that's what
not every champion is 2004 USC, 2005 Texas, 2019 LSU.
Yeah, LSU, yeah.
2020 Alabama, although the COVID year makes all that weird. But most national champions were the best team that year.
Yeah.
They're not all-time
greats. Yeah, all-time greats.
They're not – we can watch 2005 Texas and go, oh. But you can win national titles with other types of teams too. So, that's where we want to be. And, if we need like God and cleats surrounded by only NFL guys, then
that's a coaching problem.
Yeah. And I don't think we've got that. And you know what? We're going to continue tweaking the coaching. We're going to continue tweaking everything. Yeah. I think the program's in a good place. So I would not take this very horrific, crippling loss as like the end of the, like Texas is not going anywhere, guys.
Yeah, I'd feel differently if I thought this was like a team of destiny and we somehow got upset, but it's like we're doing all right, man. Like we saw when we were bad. We see the difference having 11, 12 NFL players drafted makes. August 30th, 2025. Is that the next date for Ohio State?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I said this on the live 2 days ago. I was like, "Is whoever loses will immediately turn to, all right, well, we'll see you. We'll see you next season then." And unfortunately, it will be us. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Say what you will about scheduling. Texas ain't shying away from playing people. That's for sure.
Nope. Never.
And it's fun to cover, man. Because, like, dude, it's brutal. Playing ULM and coming and doing post games, winning by 70. There's nothing to take from it. It's like, man, it's way more fun to play.
Imagine those FCS games.
Yeah. What's it going to take for Sark to learn the value of the starting quarterback running in season on the line situations? Stubbornness ended the season.
Running isn't what put us in the position to win, or even in that position at towards the end of the game. I'm not saying it couldn't have, but Sark is going to do what he's been doing. When you get to the semifinal of the college football playoff, as flawed as you are, even when you have ways to improve or to tweak what you've been doing, you don't necessarily veer too far off what got you there. So if Sark is guilty of anything, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I also understand why Sark is going to keep riding with what he's been doing. It's frustrating because hindsight's 20/20, and then there's plays where, even though it's not on Sark, I'm screaming at the TV, quarterback draw on 4th and short, and they run a quarterback draw. We're just going to see things differently sometimes, and but I don't necessarily disagree. But also know you do what's got you there, and you can go back and have a postmortem later.
What I have learned too is just I always knew the value of it, but truly understood the value of a mobile quarterback. Like not a runner, not like I don't need Vince, but just how much that does matter to have a quarterback on the zone read and just little things. That's a lot of value. We're gonna have it next year.
See, Connor, this is the way I feel, man. If Quinn would have even moved in the pocket and held the ball and maneuvered in the pocket in the first half the way he did in the second half, there would have been far more opportunities he would have been able to take advantage of.
Yeah.
It's not even about the zone read and everything else. It's literally
buying a second.
Quinn
It's
in the
literally
second
a
half
shuffle a foot and a half over and then flip it to a guy.
That's literally what it came down to. Quinn was such a different guy. It was like he just told him, I don't care what you have to do. Step up, move around, just wait long as you can to find the guy.
Yeah.
And the second half was a little bit different. Just when you think about the number of plays that were missed in the first half, because he's walking in the sacks, just not really getting a sense of it, just not comfortable in that environment. He settled down, but I'm with you. There's always an edge to it, but I do think if Sark has a guy who is comfortable in the pocket doing that on a consistent basis, it's lethal for 4 quarters to deal with a guy who just hang in there just long enough to where your DBs can't cover, but has the arm strength and accuracy to just get rid of the ball. I don't think we're far off, but Quinn didn't really tap into it as much as we would have liked to this season, and he really didn't tap into it enough this game.
Ball down, not in a throwing position, eyes down.
Yeah.
You can't throw. You're a runner who runs 4.8 from a standstill. You're now not a quarterback. The passing game is no longer occurring.
Yeah.
So if you're a DB and a quarterback drops his eyes when he gets pressured, it's a different calculus, man. So he did that in the first half, and Drew's he walked into a couple of sacks. And then on one, a guy took a crazy, I'm gonna get there. Took the long way around, and he kind of stood there like a statue instead of stepping up. But in the second half, eyes up. The ball didn't come down to his hip; it stayed up here so he could throw. And he's just dropping little balls to guys. Stuff Riley Leonard does every week. Irritates the hell out of defenses, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I started trying to send it after him. He was like, all right, here's Blue's wheel route twice.
That's it. Or even just the little drops to Wisner.
Well, that pitch,
7 yards,
that pitch where he almost put his knee down. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he did some really good things in this game against a good defense.
Yeah.
And, he had some other weaknesses that have been evident this, people don't just change, right?
Right. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
We've seen him for 3 years. We know his strengths. We know his weaknesses. It is what it is.
And the guys led us to a bunch of football victories. And he's got a nice chapter in Longhorn history. So whatever he does, he's made his legacy. And we're going to move on. And we're going to continue to have other quarterbacks. And I bet Sark is going to be pretty good at picking them and developing them.
Yeah. Chances we go to the portal is similar to a big short yardage back for next year, even with the early returns on backs being positive.
So big short yardage back who doesn't get push is a big dude who isn't very fast or mobile who gets tackled in the backfield by Drew.
I don't really feel like I'm not a big short yardage back period. It's like my back should be my short yardage back. My back should be on, maybe I'm spoiled, but it's like if I'm bringing you in to get third downs, I want my running back to be able to, my every down back to be able to get third downs.
I mean, some of the greatest short yardage backs in NFL history, college history, of course, were not huge guys.
Yeah.
Marcus Allen was an amazing short yardage back. Emmitt Smith, incredible short yardage. Walter Payton was a great short yardage back. So, yeah, I mean, I love Derrick Henry, but, if you're not getting push inside,
it's so much that is off. Yeah.
Sometimes the back's body weight ain't the issue.
Yeah,
what's funny?
Offensive line thing.
Well, what's funny too is there's a couple plays tonight, and actually probably more than a couple, where I was like, Jonathan Brooks and Bijan Robinson. It's like you reach for their leg, and it just disappears, and they keep running.
Yeah,
there were a few plays tonight where a defender just kind of got one leg, and those legs were missed with other backs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In open space, Wisner just had to get one more miss guy. It was a few plays where just one more guy missed, he's going to the house. A few plays in open space where just one more guy misses. And great run, great play design. You maxed out the run, but we've seen guys make those plays and make guys miss in space to where it's just like bloop, bloop, and they're off. They give you a leg, they take it back, and they're looking behind themselves, just trying to figure out, what happened. I don't know if any of the guys we have can be those guys, because I didn't see it tonight. But That's what we've had, is when you have that one-on-one in space, whether they're just dumping it off to you or you make it through and it's you and a safety. Can you make that guy miss? If you give him that leg, can he miss it? Can you keep your balance, contact balance, and keeping your feet underneath you? We just didn't get enough of that, but we were so close. But I think we have just gotten so used to seeing guys make those guys miss in space. There's some close opportunities, and big ups to the backs for holding it down all year. But there's a couple plays out there that, we've just seen other guys make in the past, and those are hard guys to find. But, man, we need to find a way to find them.
Yeah, you see the difference in having early round backs, right?
Well, they can just run their blocking better, and they'll make a guy miss that wasn't accounted for. Jeremiah Love, you guys saw that touchdown run against Penn State.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love's 205.
Yeah.
He's not a big back. He ran through 5 dudes.
Yeah, that play was incredible.
Now, Penn State was a good example. I love their running backs. I love Singleton and Allen. And they're an example of like 225-pound backs who run with power, but they can go. Like, they can cut. So, yeah, I mean, Jonathan Brooks, remember the big concern about him? Can he be the ever down back? He's only 200 pounds. Can he carry the load? He answered that emphatically. And to Drew's point, he had that weird dead leg. Like, he just like,
dude, he did. He has this
kind of go limp, and then they would like just slide off it, and he'd zoom.
He had this slashing style that was super.
He never ran. He's just gliding.
Yeah, he had his runs were beautiful. I think the biggest thing Drew said too is like when you're talking about, man, they would just shoelace tie all year. We've been one of the worst explosive run teams, and so it's like that too. Everything we're saying, I feel like, we knew that.
The backs were very good in the passing game. But
yeah, they were, especially to come out of the half.
Yeah. What's funny, though, is we've been having this conversation all season. There's no surprises in this game. If you've been here, if you've been in Inside Texas, like, there's no surprises. And honestly, we have a lot of educated, very just engaged fan base where there are a lot of smart people who they're not necessarily shocked at this. But we also know it was possible. But at the end of the day, we knew this could have gone a wide range of ways, and we were in position. And so it's always close enough, but just not enough. And so here we are. But if you've been on Inside Texas, if you've been here, you're probably processing this maybe a little differently. If you know enough, but I get it if you haven't been, and if this is tough. But yeah, it sucks regardless.
Yeah. We were starting to beat them up, run downhill. Yeah, there was a period there in the second half that looked like we were making it a little further, but we were still running on first, and it was driving me nuts. But then we started dumping it off to the backs and stuff like that. But, yeah, truth serum, guys. Jacob Woodyard, truth serum. Is anyone relieved that the Quinn Ewers era is over? I mean, it's gonna tank engagement on the board. We needed that era.
Relieved is not the word I use.
Yeah. Well, who we're going to argue about for 19 pages of a thread?
Jacob, I think so. Jacob, you've been a stalwart in these chats and these post games all season. Hook them to you, man. I think there's a lot of Texas fans that feel that way, and they're ready to move on to the next chapter. But I've heard Texas fans say that for different quarterbacks in different times that might surprise you, right? But look, I think we're excited for the next chapter, but I also think you need to give Quinn his flowers, give him his props.
Yeah, we need to look, man. We have to respect nuance. It's like, did Quinn have flaws? Absolutely, but we also got to talk about that there's a lot of middle ground here too. He won a ton of games. He did a lot of things for us we wouldn't expect. I'm excited to get to Arch. I think we all are. Arch is going to be a special player, but it's not. Quinn is not horrible. Quinn is not trash. And also on the flip side, Quinn is not God. It's somewhere in the middle there, guys. But I still think he'll be a fondly remembered Texas quarterback for us. I'm excited to not hear the arguments about him anymore. That is something I'm.
Oh, the Trey Owens takes are coming. Get ready.
Yeah. Yes, because when you look at this question that he asked here, it's like, it's anyone relieved? Yes, of course anyone is, but relieved, I don't know, man. Like, we just played in the college football playoff Final Four teams for the last 2 years. everyone's been begging for Arch, and I completely understand. I completely get it, but we know how this goes. When Arch is imperfect, when Arch is not making the plays, when Arch makes a mistake, where's everybody going to be? Are we still going to be here calling for Arch? And listen, I think Arch is different. I have multiple times. You see him physically, you see him in person, you see how he works. You're like, man, this dude is as big and physical as like a Cam Newton when you just see his stature. But the dude can throw the rock. So a lot of fans have gotten to see him run the ball in short yardage and be physical and be an athlete, but that's not what he's here for. And we better be ready for a ride with him too. There's some more excitement and probably dynamic aspect to what he can do that I think everybody longs for. So I wouldn't say we're relieved that we're moving on, but I do think there's definitely something to look forward to just because we got some excitement. He's a dynamic player, and there's no guarantee we'll be right back here next year. But I think it's going to be fun watching him really mature and play for the first time as our guy and take it all on.
Yeah, people forget even great new young quarterbacks, they give you some unintended excitement, particularly early in the game.
Yes, sir.
It's like, hey, like when you raise a dog and your dog's old and they like know everything and they can just read your body language, like the simplest thing, they're like reacting before that you even do the thing or have the thought. Like my dog sits and watches my posture, and when she knows it's going to change, she's already at the door waiting. And and I'm sitting here typing away, right? And she sees a little change in my posture, and she goes and sits, and I'm like, "Why is she doing that?" Then I'm rising and walking over to the door to go like work out, right? You forgot when they were puppies, and puppies are cute, and puppies are awesome, and they're full of excitement, but they have accidents.
Yeah, they do some wild stuff.
Arch is going to have some accidents, but I think he's going to grow into a great hunt dog for us.
Yeah. Arch is going to give us some head scratchers. He's confident. We've seen him like you're going to be whatever, but I also think he's going to bust some 40-yard runs, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, dudes who aren't scared do awesome stuff. They also do some scary stuff.
Exactly. Well, yeah. All right. Before we keep going, guys, Academy Sports and Outdoors. I actually had to go there the other day to get. I told on the previous show, I had to get me a nice quarter zip. I had to go be a journalist. I make YouTube videos, but I had to go play journalist the other day and film some stuff and ask players some questions. And of course, if you're gonna be a journalist, you have to dress like it and wear a quarter zip. So it's the top brands at the prices you'll love, guys. Academy Sports and Outdoors. And if you're in the DFW area, just like the team was, you're cold. So go get the Nike gear, Carhartt, Magellan, whatever you like, guys. Also, new year, new you. Sporting goods, weights, treadmills, dumbbells. You guys are finally going to be able to get in shape. Running shoes. Whenever it finally clears up. So Academy also makes it easy, guys. In-store, curbside pickup, or online. Don't stress. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. The official retail sporting goods store of the SEC. SEC. All right, guys.
I got a question for you guys, and I need an answer from y'all. I respect you. There he is. I know, man. I got a question. Whether we can talk. We can hash it up again. On a scale of 1 to 10, what should my guilt level be that I won $200 when Quinn threw that last interception?
Well, dude, I don't get mad at that because it's either you win or you win.
That's what I'm saying. Games are like a 2, right?
Yeah. You paid for your happiness.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would rather Texas have won.
I don't get mad at people that bet against Texas because it's like you win and you're happy.
I wasn't betting against Texas.
I know people
Phil Howard greater than 0.5 interceptions. Quinn Ewers greater than 0.5 interceptions. Over 41.5.
Yeah.
So,
you
on a scale of 1 to 10, should I feel any? Okay, 0s and 2s. Yeah, I agree. All right, thank you. If I was getting 7s and 8s, I'd have to reassess some stuff.
No, man. It's about winning that cash.
It's your thing.
Jacob, 100% agree. I think he took a lot of heat he didn't deserve, but I think we all expected the offense to look a little different in year 3. I think that's fair too, right? Thank you guys for the nuance.
Our expectations, we become slaves to our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And our expectation, I can't speak globally for all you gentlemen, but I thought we were going to score a lot of points and struggle a little on defense until things came together mid-year, right? And I was worried about our, wait for this, defensive backfield, right? Yeah. So that didn't happen. We were the best defense or one of the best 3 defenses in college football? Yeah. Is it arguable that we're outside the top 3 or top 4?
No, that's not.
No. Really good D, and the offense kind of struggled. It was a slog several weeks. So am I going to be slave to my expectations of what I thought because I'm a brilliant prognosticator, or do I have to accept reality on its own terms and start actually living in reality and what the team actually is?
With Quinn, I had in my mind, I had first rounder Heisman for Quinn a year ago. And so it caused me to really evaluate Quinn like that and beat him up. Somewhere around the midseason, I go, what am I doing? This, I need to get rid of it. What are we actually looking at? And I think that was the frustrating part coming in because you hear Sark and automatically hear offensive mind, 3rd-year quarterback that was supposed to be first rounder, supposed to be number 1 quarterback, 2 offensive tackles first round. What we thought were going to be a fairly easy replacement of AD and Worthy, which is kind of silly now, but I think we just kind of counted our chickens before they hatched on the offensive side. At least I know I did, and that caused me to be frustrated. But like Paul said, around halfway through, I said, okay, I'm holding these guys up to a mythic team that doesn't exist here, and I just need to value. I think Drew does a really good job of not doing that. But that's also because he was on a mythic team. I mean, he's on the Texas Longhorns that won it all. So I think he knows too. Is
dude,
don't do that.
The margins are so thin, even when you're on a great team, man. It's just you gotta earn it every single down, and you just never know how it's going to end up. We played against Ohio State in Columbus at night. Bobby Carpenter, AJ Hawk, go down the list of that roster in 2005. That's why I don't get too worked up about the way a game unfolds. Viva had how many turnovers? This game was a battle in the same way. Defenses were just figuring out. Everybody was just figuring out as they went. At the end of the day, you just got to know that's what a game is going to be. We're not entitled to it being any other way, especially in the playoffs. This team is just as invested.
The margins are so thin.
These players are just as invested. The money and the people behind all this stuff, they're just as invested. Everybody's there. It's a clean playing field. So you go hard. You have a short-term memory. You go hard for 4 quarters and you look up, and then you can go back and rehash on what went wrong and everything else. But at the end of the day, man, when you get a chance to play in a battle like this, I hate losing. I hate it. I hate losing. But I'm grateful for this kind of stuff, man. You don't get this. You can't replace winning or losing a game like this after you move on from it. There's no way to replace this. That's why I'm just I'm a part of this now because it's I'm just holding on by my fingertips. It's man, hey, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I'll be right back here all off season and next season too. So it is what it is, but I love the ride.
With Connor, we got to bring in our closer here. What are your impressions, man?
Yeah, I was going to say Nick's taking it a little harder than I am in the group chat.
So we talked ourselves into the big picture, and Nick's just over there going, first and one on the one.
First and goal from the one.
Yeah.
We do a sweep on 2nd and goal from the 1.5. We lose 7. I don't know, man.
I think it's create space in the passing game.
Hey, though, one thing I will say, everybody talked about Jeremiah Smith. I told Homer this last week. I think we match up really well against Ohio State. I really do. I think we match up well against them. We actually matched up well against them. Jeremiah Smith, man, we limited him 1 catch for 3 yards. I mean, if I'd have told anybody that he had 3 yards today and 1 catch, we were like, hey, man, we won this game. Right. We actually limited their running game, 24, attempts for about 80 yards or so. Yeah. Texas defense came to play. We had, just 2 drives that was very favorable for them. And then they had the 1 play at the end of the first half. Right. So that was a killer, but
the screen, the strip sack, they made plays,
man, I can't knock that. I mean, it is what it is, right? Cam missed the block there. I mean, he came straight in, man. I mean, it just is what it is.
So let me ask you guys. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but once. I don't know if he got the snap.
You don't think so?
Was he still? I thought he was like still in his stance.
I'm not sure.
I just know he got beat. That's all. I don't know how bad.
Yeah, it was like no hands on him, man. I mean, so it is what it is, man. But Texas defense, man, you know, like Paul was saying, if you'd have told me when the season started that the offense was going to be kind of sputtering down the road and the defense was going to carry this team, I'd be like, you're kidding me. Like, no way in hell. Losing Sweat, losing Murphy.
Exactly. Losing that.
You know, there's no way, right? And then there was a way, right? Texas figured it out. Thorpe Award winner Anthony Hill does this thing this year. We got Colin Simmons. We're finally getting edges, right? Colin Simmons playing the way that he's playing. He's going to be the best edge in college football here in a couple of years, if not next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, Texas defense is outstanding. They did their part the entire season. They did their part this game minus a few plays, but that's football, right? That's just life. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Quinn played a great game. And as much as people want to talk, like I was on Bleacher Report and Quinn sucks. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, if you watch this game and think that Quinn sucked, you need to turn your TV off and go watch like Blue's Clues or something. Cause you know, Quinn played his butt off, man. You know what I'm saying? He played his butt off, 2 touchdown passes. I don't care about the pick at the end. He's trying to make a play at the end.
Yeah, I don't care about that one. He's just trying to force that. Yeah.
And then like the whole strip sack, that's not on him. I can't blame it on him. Right. So Quinn's gonna get a lot of flack from the Texas fan base for years to come. I tell Homer this all the time. He reminds me the flack he's gonna get is gonna be similar to what Chris Sims got. Right. Chris Sims was the guy who only lost 6 games as a starter here at Texas, 7 games as a starter. Right. If we'd have had a guy like Chris Sims or Quinn during our dungeon decade, we'd be screaming he's one of the greatest things since sliced bread. Right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Texas was down, Baxter their entire season. You're down Gold in this game until the 4th quarter. Bond hasn't been healthy. Right. I mean, look, great game, Ohio State, great game. You guys earned it, but good season by Texas too as well, man.
If I'm Quinn Ewers' his agent, I'm like, hey, dude, you know how you stepped up in the pocket and held on for the second half and found guys once routes developed and you just allowed yourself to see down the field and do that? Let's go take this $6 million and just do that the whole next season.
Yeah. Well, he told Thamel before the game that they're going to the draft.
Yeah, did he?
And they announced it. Personally, man, like I would give Quinn one more year, but not here in college football. Yeah. But hey, if they're gonna go
Quinn at Oregon, how about that?
Well, yeah, I mean Notre Dame, right? Like something like
Notre
that.
Dame. Oh man, I didn't think about Notre Dame.
Yeah,
like there's an option.
Yeah, but it's like I would give him one more because also too we talk about Quinn. He's been a 3-year starter. He's still young. He skipped his senior year.
Yeah,
he's still a super young like Will Howard is an old quarterback. Yeah, Riley Leonard, I don't know how old he is. Riley Leonard feels old. I don't know if he actually is, but that's been a thing. This is something that I think in the offseason I'm going to talk about, with the exception of Paul's in mindset. When we hired Sark, everyone expected a 3rd-year quarterback to lead an offense that didn't go MIA for entire quarters. I agree with you, and I'm not letting anyone off the hook, guys. When it's time to do the analysis, and I know Paul will do it in his postmortem, we'll tell you what we really think went wrong, for sure. And that's also part of why I am excited for Arch, because Arch is going to answer questions. Were some of these things a quarterback issue or a coordinator issue? And so that's will illuminate some things for me, right? If 3rd quarter scoring and red zone scoring continue to be an issue again, that's a Sark thing, and so that's why I'm interested to see Arch, because Arch is going to answer some questions for me eventually here.
That's crazy to Homer, because you think about it, we've had Sark's been here what's this, his 4th year?
Yeah.
Yeah. every year we've had red zone issues, whether it's Casey Thompson, Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers playing. All right. Third down issues pretty much their entire time. It's not just a Quinn thing, I don't think. I mean, this has been like this from day one, if I'm not mistaken. So
we were good in year 2.
Were we good in year 2?
Roshan and Bijan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Everyone blocks down.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, blocking down, just so you guys know, I played offensive line some in high school. It's what you prefer to do as an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Blocking people down and then kicking out the end.
Yeah.
You're moving downhill. Like, you're moving people. And defenders hate it when they get blocked by a guy they're not expecting.
Exactly.
They get all mad and you draw personal fouls. It's awesome. So I just think, that was a big key, but you're absolutely right. You nailed it in the other years. And there's a lot of stuff, and we've written a lot of ink about it and talked about it. We've got to find an identity in the run game and the hard run game, especially. And maybe some of that's going to come with a little more diversity in the offense. Sometimes when your quarterback can drop back to pass from the 8 and just run it in, that's pretty frustrating to a defense. So Lord knows Vince Young and Colt McCoy converted a lot of red zone stuff, just running it in the end zone. So
I'm saying that just matters to me. I really learned the mobility of a quarterback, how valuable it is. And it sounds naive, but it's like I was still kind of in the age of like, man, if you can drop dimes, you don't got to be able. But now you got to be able to do both, right? You got to be able to move and drop dimes. Also, I'm interested. Like, I want to see Sark, because Sark at Bama, man, that was at the height of RPOs, and defenses have kind of started to solve that. And
thanks for saying that.
So it's like, I think too, it's like that's what made Sark's offense so scary. And Sark, year in and year out, when you got this coordinator, you expected it to be top 3 in scoring every year. Like, we're normally about the 15th-ish ranked offense. And for this level of NFL talent and coordination, we should be better than a 15th ranked offense kind of year.
You know what you make a great point there, Connor, because you know what I've seen Sark do on defense. Year 1, we couldn't tackle well. We found a way, and we haven't tackled. I mean, we've tackled consistently and great, honestly, for the last 3 years, but we couldn't pass block. I mean, I'm sorry, we couldn't defend the pass well the last couple of years in certain just in certain situations. I think we've done a great job of shoring up everything. Sark has addressed everything that has been a vulnerability when it comes to our defense, both with talent and with scheme and with bringing in other coaches to help collaborate and give us just a real strong foundation. I cannot say our offense has evolved and tweaked and changed from a schematic standpoint in the same way that, we've gotten talent, but what have we identified ourselves with? I do know that any coach will tell you, any defensive coach we play against will tell you, there's so much to prepare for when you're playing against Sark, whether it be RPOs or different type of runs or different motions and everything else. The tight ends involvement. There's so many things you have to deal with when you're preparing to coach against Sark. But how much have we tweaked? How much have we stolen? How much have we changed? We do great with scheming up plays. We do great with plays, shock plays, just finding open plays. But if you have to drive 90 yards consistently and hang your hat on one thing or another or on a few things, who are we? What can we be? So I think this offseason, we really have to figure that out. I really trust that we have evolved into a culture and an understanding of who we want to be as a defense. And now it's just a matter of finding players to plug in and be able to execute who we are. Offensively, we got to tweak some things. Offensively, we got to figure some things out, whether it be in the red zone, whether it be in short yardage,
run blocking.
Yeah, all of it. We really have to. I want to see our offense make some changes, make some things, make some tweaks, so we kind of have an identity and some things that we know we can rely on or trust. Really, that's consistent with who we expect Sark to be and what he's done with the defense.
I think big picture, you nailed it. You couldn't say it better. We're not seeing the incremental improvements schematically in some areas of the offense that we'd like to see. The guy's the head coach. He's got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. And he's also a pretty good recruiter. So he's not one of these head coaches that it's sort of arm's distance, I'll make a call and I'll come in for the
No, Sark's hands-on the Personnel
Sark's hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
He's hands-on in every aspect developmentally. He's hands-on in their lives. Texas football, hey, man, I understand we're moving to a new mercenary era. Sark is one of the coaches who actually still pours into the lives of his players.
Mm-hmm.
And that may sound hokey, and people are like, oh, it's pro football now. There's coaches that still believe that, and you can identify them. They're not hard to find. Marcus Freeman. Look at how he spoke after he won that game. That's a guy who cares about things beyond just football. And I'm sure he doesn't mind earning $6 million coaching football as well. But Sark is one of those guys, man. It means something to him. And I think he's busy. And I think he could use some help.
Did you hear Ryan Day in the press conference talking about why he gave up play calling duties yesterday? I thought it was illuminating. They asked Sark and Day at the same time. Sark, you haven't given up play calling, and Ryan Day, you have. What's the difference? And Ryan Day said, look, I had to do it. I had to step back because I found myself on Thursday nights thinking of what to do on the left hash on 4th and 2, and it was consuming me, and I wasn't doing what I needed to do as a head coach and step back. And then Sark's answer was basically, I like play calling, so I'm and so it's like, well, that's great. And here's my thing with Sark. I think he's a brilliant play designer. Individual plays, I will go, wow, like that reverse counter in the middle of the year, the throwback screen when he introduced it, not anymore, but that stuff. And I think his scripting, his sequencing within a script is one of the best. But when it's the third quarter and the fourth quarter, his off sequence play calling has been suspect to me at his time in Texas. Yeah, it just has.
What's interesting, I think the broad picture stuff we're saying is all good. That said, for this game, I actually thought outside of the goal line sequence, it was great because we were deprived of some. So part of our success, we predicted we were going to throw to the backs a lot, throw to Helm. That's exactly what happened, right? That was obvious.
Yep.
The complement to that was Matthew Golden outside the hashes, winning one-on-one. When he went down, that hurt us.
Yeah,
it was very clear from their PIs. It was very clear from just watching the game that we were going to hit a couple of those.
Yeah.
He went down. Wingo did some good things in his place. He doesn't have that level of experience. He doesn't have that reliability that Golden's demonstrated down the stretch.
He's got the raw horsepower right now. But
so Sark had a big part of his passing game plan
going through Golden,
held behind his back. And it was the thing to build off of them overreacting to us hitting the running backs and the tight ends, right? The running game, Drew pointed it out, and we could bring it up again. Our backs ran hard. They caught the ball really well. They tried. Trey Wisner had some very strong runs, but there's a difference between watching them and watching Singleton and Allen for Penn State. There's a difference between watching them and watching Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
So that's another part of it where I think you had some opportunities, maybe for an explosive or two in the running game, that we were denied. And so I actually think, on balance, as crazy as it is, as disappointed as we were in the play calling sequence down on the goal line, I thought this was one of his better called games, given the tools he had to utilize.
Yeah, given the context, yeah, I agree.
Is that fair, or am I being Pollyanna?
No, that's fair.
But also, I think, what did we score? 14 points?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the points, but I'm saying, we've gotten to this kind of, with, I don't, it's like, and this might be harkening back to beginning, expectations, right? It's the context of it's one of our Sark's better called games, it still ends in 14 points, And so it's that's where it's I thought we were getting, and also defense has changed since Sark has been hired, man. Defenses are way better. So we got to take that into account.
Also, the game went fast. The clock ran. Neither team ran a ton of plays. Yeah. So there was some game context to that and all that. We weren't
and it might just be the vision of man, let's just put up 30 no matter what, And of course that sounds great, right?
So broadly speaking, I think everything we're saying is right. I think for this game, I think he had less tools to utilize than maybe we'd think at first blush, right?
Bond's hurt all year.
Bond's hurt, but yeah.
Yeah, I think hurt and check out.
Golden's your eraser. It could like make solve things for you quickly.
Yeah.
We don't have a starting running back
at all.
Ideal starting running back that
ideal.
On.
I think
Cam's hurt.
If I have any regrets for the season, I love Silas Bolden.
Oh man,
I wanted to get him more. Yeah,
I know.
I wanted him more involved in the regular offense, not in the Keelan Robinson role, as everyone says. He's 155 pounds.
Yeah, I want him to slot.
Throw him the ball. He's a freaking dog. Like
he's
it's
a dog.
People are that guy's a dog.
And he makes tough catches, man. Like
Dude,
he
he's
holds.
The guy that players hate because the coach points to Silas Bolden and goes, "If you had half the heart of Silas Bolden,
he's nasty, dog.
He'd be a first rounder."
And the player's like, "I know." That's the worst part. Is like,
he's fearless, man.
Damn it, Paul. I was happy until you just brought that up, man.
Sorry.
He is a dog, man. He is an absolute dog. Anytime he's had a chance to make a play or give us a heart attack, he goes hard. Like,
he never blew it. He never blew it in punt return. Did he ever muff and lose it? Ever?
I think once.
And he lost it.
He didn't lose it.
He's muffed 3. I think he's lost 1, right?
Did he lose 1? I was gonna say I was waiting for that all year.
I gotta.
He's a dog, man. He makes difficult catches.
He breaks tackles.
Yeah,
he's 155 pounds.
Dude, he took one of the biggest shots. He took one of the biggest shots over the middle.
Georgia, right?
Yeah, he took a shot that I didn't see any other Texas receivers willing to take.
And got up.
Yeah.
Caught the ball and got up. I love Silas Bolden.
You know what? I think riding this, I know we're an hour in, but riding this wave of emotion, of appreciation, man, Gunnar Helm.
Yeah.
Man, you're a Longhorn, dude. Like,
hey, here's my rule. If you clown someone, you get to point at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
that was
the
not
rule.
a penalty, man.
Well, especially because it was Caleb Downs. The only reason you point at him because it is Caleb Downs. Like he's so good that it's like you're like, I got you. You wouldn't do that to like an average guy.
He didn't get in his face. He didn't teabag him. He didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
He just basically went, ha, like, come on, dude.
But
that's fun though. I mean, go to any 7-on-7 tournament in high school.
That's what happens. Yeah.
He made the best play of the entire season. Yeah, Bolden's OU play is legendary.
Yeah, Bolden, man.
But yeah, Helm, man. Dude, Makuba.
Makuba, God,
you gotta appreciate this year, man. Makuba, honestly, the whole damn secondary, man.
Barron on the field, he was amazing. Off the field, like the ultimate representation of the Longhorns.
Oh, yeah, Barron.
Yeah,
he's
perfect
so
culture.
mature. He's
so
smart.
mature.
He's classy.
He controls the room in the interviews. You should see him whenever you're doing the pressers with him. He's asking the press question. Like you feel like you're hanging out.
He's going to be on TV after
special. And he said, "Look, I'm going to come back to Texas and win the Thorpe." And I was like, "This is one of those delusional athlete things, where they're like, I'm going to come back and win the Thorpe." I'm like, "You didn't even play corner last year," and then he comes back and he wins the Thorpe.
The whole announcement, like, I'm going to wear number 7. Like the whole unfolding. I'm coming back. I'm wearing number 7. Huff is giving him the jersey.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is cute, right? Like,
what are the odds?
And then he does it.
Yeah.
One of the best defenses in the country. Final 4 team, dude. Dog.
And what was the prevailing wisdom amongst the amongst the people about Barron at the end of last year? Do you remember?
Dude, he couldn't.
He got burned.
Man.
Brendan Presley got him. Oh, even I said it. I was like, dude, Brendan Presley was cooking him in the Big 12 game. And then he came back. But they were. I didn't know he was hurt behind the scenes. So Eric was like, he's hurt, dude. And I was like, oh, well, that'd have been nice to know before I said that. Exactly. But yeah, dude. Yeah, Barron was awesome, dude. People are asking, can Taft come back? He can come back.
He can come back. Yeah.
I hope he does.
I really like this team. Like,
I liked them.
I liked, me too. Like, I just liked the players, man. They handled themselves well.
David Benda, did you see that guy?
Oh man,
yeah, dude.
First of all, freaking beautiful drop.
Yeah,
that was a 20-yard drop interception that turned the tide at that moment.
Yeah,
and then he has a scrape that looked like freaking Mike Singletary on that 4th and short.
And 4th and short.
Great game. And when you see the guy interviewed, the dude's an engineering major.
I didn't know that. I'm an engineer, man, from Texas. So Oh man, I gotta give him a shout out, bro.
Due to the time requirements of engineering, it's not some BS major like Connors.
That's like Marcus Myers. He was.
I literally
he's
went to
engineer
film
major.
school. I went to film school. We had to watch The Godfather for a final.
Yeah, well, engineers do like 4 hours of homework every night.
DVQ, thermodynamics,
Yep.
kinematics and dynamics, all that good stuff.
I didn't know you were an
There's a
engineer.
beast.
I'm a mechanical engineer.
That explains the scientific, methodical approach you bring.
Oh man, appreciate
But
it.
man, I think that was a great point, Paul. I legit liked this team.
It's a good team, man.
But what does that say? Because I think the difference is there's a theme with this team, and Sark talks about it. It's kind of goes back to even Jade Barron saying, "Hey, number 7, the Thorpe, and the whole thing." There's a certain belief. There's a certain part of this culture that just is present, that believes, but that works. They don't feel entitled. They love each other. They celebrate each other. And you look up and you're like, these guys are really enjoying this moment. We're the ones all freaking out. You know, if honestly, if the players on the field peed their pants as much as fans do, you'd have to paint the field yellow. This team just is so composed. Just they showed up. They showed up. It didn't have to be perfect. The culture of the defense and the way they show up and respond for the offense when the offense is just not clicking.
Yeah,
man, dude, I want to keep that defense, but have an offense that can do just a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a feeling that, like, man, we blew that one of the legendary
more,
a legendary defense.
Yeah, we blew like a legendary Texas defense, but man, it is. But also the defense in the pressers, because they would constantly ask, like, how do you guys, trying to bait them to talk noise about the offense, and they never took the bait. They're always like, they're gonna get it figured out. That's the thing too, is like our culture was down bad, worse than fans even realized during that dark decade area, and to see that difference it makes. But like you said, that intentionality too of like, we're going to come back to do X, Y, Z. All the young guys in the program now, they don't know any different. They don't know losing to Kansas. They don't know not going to. They don't know that. And so now you can really kind of change it. That's cool. This is the biggest thing. The staff can develop. We didn't have that either.
Oh man,
that's a different ball game.
Different ball game.
Speaking of development, very quickly, a couple people had mentioned the chat. I saw it early in the game. Played January inside.
Vosick was out there.
Vosick outside. January drew a personal foul like a veteran. Beautiful.
Huge play.
And Vosick did too. He got a hold.
Vosick got the hold. And people let's talk about penalties.
Oh, don't do it.
So,
the one that Colin Simmons had, he was coming around. That was a straight hold. That's the one they got the damn first down on 3rd and 8, right? I mean, it was like, come on, man. That's just be 3rd and 18 right now. You basically
absolutely
hug the kid.
Inside of him, Vernon Broughton was being held. So
yes.
Crazy.
Dude, I can't blame you. Colin Simmons, you got to hold him. You got to hold him. He's so fast. There's no way you can't not hold him.
Him waving off PK for the sub was awesome as well.
I loved it.
Hey, but on the penalties, so there's Ohio State beat themselves with penalties, and then there's Texas caused penalties. Vosick caused a penalty.
Yeah.
He got low. He drove that offensive tackle way into the backfield on outside zone, and the guy had to grab him.
He had to grab him. He had no choice.
People are like, well, Ohio State's hurting themselves with penalties.
No.
That guy got his ass whipped.
He had to hug on for dear life.
Now, I appreciate if you clown a guy and you point at him, you could say that that's not a smart penalty, the big picture, or like punch January in the jaw when he's wearing a helmet. But, there are types of penalties, and there's penalties of domination, right? That you're forcing them to commit a penalty to stop you. And I do have to praise Ohio State defensive backs. Their holds were smart.
Yeah.
They understand, hey, 15 yards is nothing in the big picture if this guy scores.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the end of the half. Me holding this guy just burns 7 seconds of clock, and Texas now can't run another play. And they only get 10 yards out of it. Yeah. So, do you think the college game will ever go to the NFL game where it's a spot foul?
Oh, no.
because
These
we're not
guys-
good enough. We're not good. We can't cover that well.
That would ruin
Former
the game.
DBs, like, I hope
Talk
not.
about stuff that'll ruin the game.
That'll ruin the game, dude. College DBs gotta
No.
interfere a lot of times.
Okay, all right.
No. And refs, college refs don't know how to call interference either. So you just can't do it.
Yeah. I frankly don't think it should be a spot foul in the NFL either. But you're right too, Paul. With it not being a spot foul, we've incentivized as well as them being unskilled to interfere. Because look, if Maya Smith beats me, why wouldn't I not draw the flag there? It's better than a touchdown. Like, duh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, Vosick, he's gonna be a star.
I keep saying,
A 6'5" dude who can level change like that.
Mhm.
Like, he gets low when he wants to get low,
He's good.
and then when he just gets more physically mature, he gets stronger. He's going to be a nightmare coming around the edge.
I just want him healthy.
Colin
That's
Simmons
all I care
on the
about.
other side. Good lord.
Him, Colin Simmons, Zena, Burt coming back next year.
Oh,
We're-
yeah.
So Colin Simmons weight room off season. Where does he go? What does he look like? Like, there's certain things when you look at some of these guys, these young guys, like Vosick came into college, just doesn't even look. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just a specimen to work with, right? And I'm glad we've actually flipped the switch on some of these things as we're celebrating some of our players. But yeah, man, Vosick, Colin Simmons. We have some good anchors. We have some good guys who are going to carry the culture, but also be some playmakers.
We got Lance Jackson.
Lance Jackson.
That's a
Yeah.
future first rounder.
I just think, man, Derek Williams didn't play all year.
Yeah.
He's coming back next year healthy.
Jelani McDonald.
Jelani McDonald.
He'll be back. He's developed.
25. Kobe Black.
We've proven we can develop, man. So
Yeah.
if a guy doesn't look like he was just good enough this year,
Don't worry.
don't worry.
Yeah.
What a great appeal, because people do focus on NIL, and it's great that these guys can get real paydays that can change their lives if they're smart at this level. They can share in that revenue. Your ultimate paychecks are still going to be the next level.
Yep.
If you're that level of player, I got to think that we're going to be able to throw down our development propers against anybody on the recruiting trail. And even the 1 year wonders that we recruit, the mercenaries, right?
Yep.
We got a great story to tell with Andrew Makuba.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great story to tell with Matthew Golden. We got a great story to tell with, of course,
Mitchell, AD Mitchell last year.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's incredibly appealing that, like, hey, man, these people bought in. This is the result. This is what happens for you at Texas. And there's a bunch of guys that were big names in the portal that had rough years in college football because they went to a system for the money purely, and it did not work out for them. Carson Beck, by the way, just is going to go to Miami. Not completely unrelated comment.
Yeah, and also the best decision happened to be where his girlfriend plays. What are the odds out of every university in the country, that one happened to have your girlfriend at it?
You don't go to Miami with a girlfriend, but that's
Yeah, what an amateur move.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go down to Columbia for a while with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we're good to wrap. I had a fun season working with you guys, man. That was fun doing post games. Most of them ended with celebration. A couple times it didn't, but man, this was a fun season. And we get to work an extra like month than most teams, man. It's cool. Like I said, it's not a real job. It's very cool. We're lucky we get to do this. And everybody who's been awesome in the chat all season and riding with us, we appreciate y'all as well. Tomorrow I'll have to talk to the guys, but we'll probably have a day after, that kind of stuff. But over this next week, Ian, Paul, and I will be analyzing kind of what's going for. I'm giving Paul like writing assignments here, but I'm assuming Paul's going to do that analysis. And so we'll be able to dig in the weeds, guys, and we can talk a little bit more in depth about why things occurred. But appreciate everything, guys. Chat, have a good one. Hook 'em. Paul, Drew, Nick, hook 'em.